Hi students, welcome to July 1st lesson. Um, Today just one problem, and we're going to talk about line of best fit, and we're going to write an equation using line of best fit. All right. I'm also going to send these notes out to you guys in this lesson also. Okay. All right, so there's only going to be one problem, so let's go ahead and read that out real fast. Okay. It seems reasonable that there would be a relationship between the amount of time a student spends studying and their GPA. Suppose you were interested in predicting a student's GPA based on the hours they studied per week. You were able to randomly select 12 students and obtain this information from each student. Okay, so there'll be 12 students, and you can ask them how many hours you study per week and their GPA. Okay, so here is the list of 12 students. So the first student studied 4 hours and their GPA is 2.9, and so on. The last student studied 9 hours per week and their GPA is 4.5. Okay, so these are randomly selected students and they give you some information. Now, the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna need to graph. Now, you're thinking you don't need a graph paper. You're gonna need a graph paper, you do not. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do it without graph paper. Okay, so here's my graph quickly. All right, I'll move this up for you guys just a tad bit. Okay, so when you are graphing something like this, you could just go ahead and draw a line like this. Okay, and your hours, it's gonna be on the bottom because this is gonna determine your GPA. Okay, so your GPA is on the left. Okay, so go ahead and copy this down, and then what I did now is I just plotted these points right here on here. Okay, and then it's called a scatter plot. All right. Okay, so once you're done graphing this, that's the first thing you do. You want to draw something called line of best fit. Okay, so now to draw a line of best fit, it's almost like a judgment call, right? Now what I would do, or what they would teach you to do, is that you want to make sure you want to pick where it's kind of like, half of it's on top, half of it's on the bottom. So the best way to fit this, okay? And you also want to actually connect at least 2 points. So you can write equations a lot easier that way, okay? So just by looking, and if I'm just going like this, okay, that isn't not right. And if I keep on going, again, I want to connect some 2 points here. And I don't know, and then just keep on going. And you're like, wait a second, if I connect this point with this point over here, that point right there, that will give me the line of best fit, and you also get to connect 2 points. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. That'll be my line of best fit. All right, you go, wait a second. You connected 3 points. You're correct. But they kind of want you to use the too far one, okay? So now I'm gonna use this point right over here and this point over here to write my equation, okay? This first point here, this student is 1 hour and about 2.2. So this is that student right over here, okay? And this student here is 11 and around 3.3. Let's see here, 3.9, my bad, right there. So 11 and 3.9. All right, so I'm gonna use those 2 students right there, on this one and this one, to come up with my equation, okay? So here's my equation, here's my 2 point here, all right? Now, to write your equation, you're gonna use what we learned in our last unit, okay? You wanna find the Y-intercept first, okay? But first thing, you wanna find the slope and then plug in to find the Y-intercept. So let's go ahead and find the slope real fast. Again, I wanna do my change of Y, so this is my change of Y, so my Y's. Looks like it's going from 2.2 GPA to 3.9, so I'm going up by 1.7. All right, and this person studied 1 hour, this person studied 11, and that's a difference of 10. All right, now your GPA, your slope is a change of Y over change of X. So my slope, okay, is going to be a change of Y over the change of X. Okay, now you actually want to go ahead and divide that, because when you write an equation, you don't want to leave it like that. You actually want to see the actual number, so I'm going to divide that real fast. 1.7 divided by 10, that's going to give me 0.17. All right, so M is equal to 0.17. Right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and find our y-intercept. I'm probably gonna need more room, so I'm gonna just grab another piece of paper. Okay, I'm gonna use this one over here, a little bit easier. All right, so that would be my x and my y. So 2.2 is equal to, that's y, oh, by the way, it's y equal to mx plus b. Okay, so my slope is 0.17 times x, which happens to be 1, and then plus b. All right, so that's 2.2 is equal to 1.17 plus b. I'm just going to subtract 0.17 to both sides. Oop, something's wrong, sorry. 0.17, and again, you could use your calculator. Okay, so 2.2, subtract that by 0.17, I'm gonna get 2.03. So 2.03 will be my y-intercept. So my equation for this one, okay, can be y is equal to my slope, I already found it, which is 0.17x, and then my y-intercept is 2.03. There you go, that's my equation. All right, I know it is decimals, it's numbers, but you could use a calculator, so that should make things a lot easier, okay? Now, they're gonna also want you to go ahead and explain a couple things, so let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, so they want you to interpret what you just learned, okay? So let me quickly write the equation again. Y is equal to 0.17x plus 2.03, okay? So what does this mean? The slope indicates that a student's GPA is expected. So just by looking at this one here is your rate. This is your slope, okay? So the rate will change. Your GPA will change every single hour that you study. So this is what it means. Okay, so for every single hour you study, you will increase your GPA by 0.17. That's what it means. Okay, and the average student starts off, okay, this one here, the Y-Intercept predict that the students will have a GPA of 2.03. That means this is where you start, okay? That's the beginning of 2.03, and then you improve your GPA by how many hours you study. So that's how you interpret the slope and the Y-Intercept. All right, so you gotta remember that for your lesson. I'm sorry, for your assignment, okay? All right, finally, our last problem, okay? Describe the association, meaning what is really happening, okay? So you gotta actually look at the rate itself, all right? So the top part is a change of y, which is the change in GPA, and the bottom is a change in hour, okay? So when you look at a slope, let me write that down over here for you. So the slope is, again, it's 0.17, okay? But it's easier to write as 0.17 over 1. So what does that really mean? That just means that your GPA increases by 0.17 over after every single hour. Okay, so that's what it means. So that's how you look at it. Okay, so let me just read out the answer. This is what the book has. The form is linear, which is a straight line. It does not appear to be a curve nor simply a collection of randomly scattered points, meaning that it is pretty consistent. It's not just any scatter point, is pretty consistent in terms of how the graph looks. Let's go back and look at the graph quickly. As you can see, if you just ignore this point here, don't worry about that one, okay? If you look at this graph, it looks like it's gradually going up. What does gradually going up mean? That means you're gradually increasing your GPA every hour, okay? So let's just read it to make it more specific. A student's GPA is expected to increase by 0.17 points every additional hour by studying per week. The strength is moderate, and it is strong enough to easily see that this form. So basically, they're saying that by looking at this graph, it's moderate. It's not like super consistent. It's not like the dots is like right here or anything like that. It's kind of a little bit over the place, so it is considered moderate. Okay. All right. Let's see here. There's no outlier. Like I just pointed earlier, that one here could be one, but as you can see, it's still below and it's going up. So they don't consider it as an outlier. Okay. Finally, in summary, one could say that there is a moderately, that means not for sure, a moderately strong linear relationship between how many hours you study and your GPA. There are still students that are going to study a lot and still not do really well, and there are students who do not study a lot and do really well. So again, that's why it's moderate, it's not for sure. All right? All right, so you look at the graph and then you should know if it's moderate or not. Okay, that's the end of our lesson. Have a good day. There'll be 2 problems in this assignment. Make sure you answer all the questions like what we just did. Okay, please show your work. A lot of you guys are losing points for not showing your work, so I need to see all that work. Okay, thank you and have a great day.